Every company that came out tried to figure out what was going on.
If anything got washed in and out of here, it's going to get trapped in these rocks.
I'll become more convinced that no, something did happen here.
Hey, I've got a signal over.
At exactly 6:42 a.m., the excavation machines suddenly came to a stop. It wasn't because they had hit solid rock. The underground scanners had detected something so massive that the entire crew fell silent. For a few tense moments, no one said a word. Then one engineer quietly whispered, "This can't be natural." Deep beneath Oak Island lay an object shaped unlike anything the team had expected. Could it really be the outline of a giant ship buried underground? Or is there another explanation for one of the island's most mysterious discoveries? For more than 200 years, treasure hunters have searched Oak Island for its legendary fortune. Along the way, they've uncovered strange tunnels, wooden structures, ancient artifacts, and countless clues, but nothing like this. Now, fresh evidence is sparking new theories and even bigger questions. Could this discovery change everything we thought we knew about Oak Island? Is it linked to a lost treasure, a forgotten civilization, or simply an extraordinary geological mystery? In this video, we'll examine the biggest clues, separate facts from speculation, and explore the theories that have fascinated millions around the world. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more incredible mysteries, hidden discoveries, and unbelievable stories from around the world. Now, let's uncover what could be Oak Island's greatest mystery yet. Few places have inspired as much speculation as Oak Island. The mystery began in 1795, when a group of young boys spotted an unusual depression in the ground. What seemed like an ordinary discovery later became known as the legendary Money Pit. As digging began, explorers uncovered carefully placed layers of timber, stones, and even coconut fibers buried deep underground. These findings convinced many that something valuable had been deliberately hidden below the surface. But every attempt to reach the bottom only made the mystery even more frustrating. Flood tunnels repeatedly filled the excavation shafts with seawater, erasing months of hard work and forcing each expedition to start over. Over the next 2 centuries, countless treasure hunters invested millions of dollars trying to solve Oak Island's greatest secret. Despite their efforts, the island never gave up its answers. Search teams recovered ancient coins, rusted metal fragments, old wooden tools, and mysterious carved stones that fueled endless theories. Some believed the clues pointed to the lost treasure of the Knights Templar. Others thought they revealed hidden pirate loot, while a few suspected long-forgotten military secrets. Yet, through every discovery, one thing was missing. There had never been any sign of a buried ship. No historical record mentioned such a vessel. No earlier survey hinted at its existence. None of Oak Island's famous legends even suggested it. That's exactly why the latest discovery has drawn so much attention. After more than 200 years of searching through tunnels, chambers, and engineered structures, how could something as massive as a ship remain hidden? Rather than adding another piece to the puzzle, the recent scans challenged everything researchers believed about Oak Island. The day started like any other excavation. The crew followed their routine, lowering a drilling system through layers of earth and rock while cameras recorded every step. Team members chatted casually, expecting another ordinary shift as the machinery worked smoothly across the site. At first, every instrument showed normal readings. Ground density remained steady, pressure levels stayed stable, and nothing hinted that history was about to change. Then, in a single moment, everything changed. A sharp warning alarm echoed across the excavation site. The numbers on the scanning equipment rose rapidly, forcing the operator to stop drilling immediately. The relaxed atmosphere vanished within seconds. Conversations ended, the heavy machinery fell silent, and every eye turned toward the monitoring screens. This wasn't a normal fluctuation. The signal was unusually strong, far more powerful than anything the team had seen before. Emma Culligan carefully reviewed the incoming data and quickly noticed something remarkable. The dense material wasn't scattered beneath the ground. Instead, it formed one long, continuous shape stretching deep below the surface. Realizing how important the readings were, Rick Lagina ordered all work to stop. Everyone on site knew they were no longer dealing with ordinary layers of soil, rock, or timber. On Oak Island, unexpected scan results often lead to major discoveries. As the technicians expanded the scan area, a strange outline slowly appeared on the screen. It wasn't the rough, uneven shape you would expect from a natural underground formation. Instead, it looked long, narrow, and gently curved. To many watching, it closely resembled the hull of a large ship. Experts studying the scan noted that its smooth curves and consistent proportions looked far more man-made than natural. Natural formations usually have uneven edges and irregular patterns. This feature, however, showed impressive symmetry and well-defined boundaries. That discovery immediately raised the excitement. Early measurements suggested the structure was about 120 feet long, with a surprisingly consistent width along most of its length. Such accuracy is rarely found in natural formations. Excitement spread quickly across the excavation team, though it was balanced with caution. If the readings were correct, they could be looking at one of the biggest discoveries in Oak Island's history. Rick Lagina summed up the moment with a simple remark: "This doesn't belong here." Those few words reflected exactly what everyone was thinking. What had started as another ordinary day of digging suddenly felt like the beginning of something much bigger. As more scan results came in, the mystery grew even deeper. The object appeared to rest about 90 to 110 feet below the surface, a depth that had been explored many times before. Earlier excavations at similar depths had uncovered wooden platforms, flooded tunnels, and empty underground spaces, but never anything close to the size of this newly detected structure. Its estimated dimensions made the discovery even more impressive. At roughly 120 feet long, with consistent proportions throughout, it stood apart from every previous find beneath Oak Island. Earlier discoveries were limited to isolated chambers or damaged remains. This structure appeared unusually large, continuous, and possibly well preserved. Then, Emma Culligan's material analysis revealed another unexpected detail. The density readings were nearly 3 times higher than what would normally be expected from wood alone. If the structure were made entirely of timber, the scanner would have produced much weaker readings. Something else seemed to be hidden inside. According to Emma's analysis, the scanners detected 2 distinct material signatures. One matched wood, while the other strongly indicated the presence of metal. That combination had never been recorded during any previous Oak Island excavation. Earlier discoveries usually involved single materials such as timber, stone, or scattered metal artifacts. This time, however, the data pointed to something much more unusual: an enormous underground structure that appeared to combine both wood and metal in a way no one had expected. Instead of appearing as separate materials, the wood and metal seemed to form one solid structure. That detail immediately became one of the strongest pieces of evidence. In nature, materials arranged with this level of precision are extremely rare. Everything pointed to a large, man-made object that had been intentionally built and buried beneath the island. Emma explained that the scan looked nothing like a natural cave, sinkhole, or collapsed tunnel. The pattern suggested careful engineering rather than natural geological activity. By this point, the evidence was becoming harder to ignore. The object's depth, massive size, and unusual mix of materials all pointed towards something deliberately constructed and hidden long ago. Whatever rested beneath Oak Island looked completely different from the tunnels, chambers, and flood systems found during earlier expeditions. The expressions on Rick Lagina's face and the rest of the teams reflected the importance of the moment. If the underground structure really was a ship, it could force historians to rethink everything they believed about Oak Island. Suddenly, the mystery was no longer just about hidden treasure. A much bigger question had emerged. How could something this enormous stay buried beneath the island for centuries without anyone finding it? Emma then pointed out another remarkable detail. According to the scan, the object's density remained almost perfectly consistent from one end to the other. That suggested it wasn't made of scattered debris or the remains of a broken structure. Instead, most of it appeared to have remained intact. As that realization settled in, silence spread across the excavation site. Everyone understood they might be standing above the greatest secret Oak Island had ever hidden. Rick Lagina stood quietly in front of the monitor, unable to look away from the data. Normally, he would be the first to ask questions, share ideas, or guide the discussion after a major discovery. This time, he said nothing. He simply stared at the screen, trying to process what the evidence seemed to reveal. The silence wasn't empty. It reflected disbelief, excitement, and uncertainty all at once. Over the years, the crew had seen Rick face many difficult moments, but reactions like this were extremely rare. There were no quick theories or confident explanations, just a long pause and a slow breath as everyone realized they might be witnessing history. On Oak Island, silence often comes just before everything changes. Perhaps Rick understood better than anyone that if the scans truly showed a buried ship, the discovery would mean far more than treasure hunting. This wasn't just another clue in the search. It had the potential to challenge long-held beliefs about the island's history. His expression showed both excitement and caution. Some discoveries are extraordinary, not only because of what they reveal, but also because of the questions they create. After gathering his thoughts, Rick quietly admitted that nothing like this had ever been discovered on Oak Island before. The statement was short, but its impact was enormous. From that moment on, the discovery was no longer just another set of scan results. It became something that could reshape history and change the lives of everyone involved in the search. Attention soon turned to another unusual detail revealed by the imaging equipment. The structure didn't appear to lie perfectly flat beneath the ground. Instead, it seemed slightly tilted, almost as if it had been carefully placed rather than randomly buried. Experts explained that natural cave-ins usually create uneven, chaotic formations. This object's position, however, looked surprisingly deliberate and organized. Even more impressive was its apparent condition. If a large wooden ship had simply collapsed underground over time, researchers would normally expect extensive damage. Yet the scan suggested the opposite. Most of the structure appeared remarkably well preserved. That observation gave fresh momentum to an already fascinating theory. What if the ship didn't end up underground by accident? What if it was deliberately hidden? The front section appeared lower than the rear, creating a pattern similar to a heavy object being carefully lowered along a gentle slope. Combined with Oak Island's mysterious flood tunnels and engineered underground systems, the possibility became even more convincing. For the first time, it seemed possible that the entire operation had been planned with incredible precision. If that were true, an even bigger question followed. Why would anyone go to such great lengths to bury an entire ship beneath the island? Researchers pointed out that hiding an object of this size would have required a massive workforce, careful planning, and significant resources. This wasn't something a small group could accomplish in a short time. Whoever carried out such an operation likely had great wealth, influence, and technical expertise. More importantly, they must have believed what they were hiding was valuable enough to keep secret forever. The implications were extraordinary. If this theory proves true, Oak Island's story may no longer be just about hidden gold or legendary treasure. Instead, it could reveal a carefully planned historical event that somehow vanished from the historical record. Rick seemed to understand the importance of that possibility. The mix of fascination and concern on his face suggested the investigation had reached a turning point. As researchers continued studying the evidence, another interesting clue emerged. Scientists collected preliminary carbon samples from nearby wood fragments and surrounding soil. Although the mysterious object itself wasn't directly tested, the early results consistently pointed to the same time period, the 1600s. That estimate immediately attracted widespread attention. The 17th century was an age of exploration, piracy, religious conflict, and growing Atlantic trade. Many ships disappeared without explanation, and countless voyages were never fully documented. Interestingly, several researchers have also suggested that Oak Island's underground engineering may date back to this same period. The research team was careful not to overstate the findings. Carbon dating can estimate age, but it cannot provide definite proof on its own. Even so, Emma and several experts agreed that the available evidence repeatedly pointed to the same general time frame. Whatever lay beneath Oak Island did not appear to be modern. Instead, every clue suggested it had remained hidden underground for centuries. That realization made the mystery even more fascinating. If a ship from the 1600s truly rested beneath Oak Island, the questions about its origin and why it was buried could become even more remarkable than the treasure legends themselves. If a vessel of this size had really been hidden beneath Oak Island since the 1600s, historians would normally expect to find some record of it. Ships from that era were extremely valuable. Their construction, ownership, voyages, and even their disappearance were often documented in port records, shipping logs, and official archives. Yet despite years of research, no verified record matching such a ship has ever been found. That missing chapter of history has become one of the greatest mysteries surrounding the discovery. If this had simply been an ordinary merchant ship, some evidence of its existence would almost certainly have survived. A vessel of this size should have left behind more than speculation. It should have left a historical record. But it hasn't. And that raises a fascinating possibility. What if this was never an ordinary ship at all? For decades, nearly every investigation into Oak Island has focused on the legendary money pit, the complex flood tunnels, hidden underground chambers, and mysterious artifacts uncovered on the island. Yet, among all those theories and discoveries, there has never been any serious suggestion of a buried ship. That silence is hard to ignore. Sometimes the biggest clue isn't what history tells us, it's what history leaves behind. Some researchers believe the complete absence of documentation may actually point to deliberate secrecy. Throughout history, powerful governments, religious institutions, and influential organizations have hidden sensitive information whenever it served their interests. Valuable cargo, secret missions, and politically important events have sometimes disappeared from official records entirely. If this mysterious vessel was connected to something truly significant, its disappearance from history may not have been an accident. It may have been intentional. During the 17th century, secrecy and censorship were common tools used by those in power. Historical records could be altered, hidden, or even destroyed to protect strategic interests or confidential operations. Viewed from that perspective, Oak Island becomes the perfect hiding place. Its remote location, surrounding waters, and mix of natural barriers and engineered underground features would have made it extremely difficult for outsiders to reach. It offered exactly the kind of isolated setting needed to hide something that was never meant to be discovered. When researchers combine the estimated carbon dating with the complete lack of historical records, the mystery becomes even more intriguing. Whatever lies beneath Oak Island may be far more than the remains of an old ship. It could represent a forgotten chapter of history that disappeared from the historical record, and that's what makes this discovery so fascinating. The real mystery is no longer whether a structure exists underground. The bigger question is, what might still be inside it? Researchers believe several possibilities deserve serious attention. The first possibility is hidden treasure. During the 1600s, ships regularly carried huge amounts of gold, silver, precious gems, and valuable trade goods across the Atlantic. If someone went to such extraordinary lengths to hide an entire vessel, it's natural to wonder whether its cargo was considered priceless. Others believe the ship may have carried something even more valuable than wealth. Ancient documents, secret maps, royal treaties, or politically sensitive records may have been stored on board. Some theories even suggest religious relics or sacred artifacts, objects considered too valuable or controversial to remain in public view. Whatever the cargo may have been, its true importance might have had little to do with money. Historians often point out that a single document or artifact can completely reshape our understanding of history, or leave us with even more questions than before. If you enjoyed this mystery, be sure to subscribe to the Timefold channel, and don't forget to leave a like.